What up, everyone? How's it going? Thanks for joining us again. I think this is like a fourth or fifth episode.
Four.
You know what it is, man. 303 Jim, aka Set Sells Homes, aka Gemini. Coming live with my homeboy Shawnee. You know what I'm saying? The fantasy guru over here. He's the one who comes with all the info, and I just come up here with my cute face. So let's go ahead. I'll let him turn it over to him. We'll go ahead and get it started.
Hey, I appreciate you, Jim, and I appreciate everybody out here in fantasy land that links up with us at the Shady Sports Network. We're here to bring this information to you to be as helpful as we can to keep you updated so you guys can keep your rosters as fresh and clean, be able to pick that waiver wire and get that next matchup. We're into week 10 here, and week 10 can start to be pivotal because we're getting towards the playoffs, and if you're making that last push to turn your season around and you need to get some W's, you really got to play these next couple weeks meticulously. So you got to be paying attention, see who's injured. There's been some changing of the guard at the running back position on a couple of teams, but this is our fourth episode, I believe, and this is going to be our second episode pertaining specifically to tomorrow's Thursday night game
Yes,
and
sir.
some injuries and the buys this week.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So without further ado, we're just going to go ahead and run with it and get into these things. This week is week 10, and it's a pretty big bye week. You're looking at Cincinnati on a bye, coming off of Joe Mixon's insane 4-touchdown, 153-yard game. And you got your Joe Burrow, so Jamar Chase is hurt, but you got your T Higgins is out. Njoku, he's supposed to be coming back from injury, still questionable. But then Hayden Hurst, he's gonna be not available for you. Then running into Baltimore, you're gonna be without Lamar this week. You're gonna have to find a quarterback on the waiver wire,
Which
and
is
there's some
fun.
options. There's some options this week, but you know it's can be slim pickings in deep leagues. Then you got New Orleans, where you're going to be short your Ramondres, your Jacoby Myers in your deep leagues. It depends on if Mac Jones is getting any love from you. And then you got your Jets. They're out, and they have been an up and comer. Looking out for Wilson. You're looking at Michael Carter. And then James Robinson, who also came out and had a pretty impressive game. They're not going to be available for you. And getting into it, Thursday night's game is the Atlanta Falcons and the Carolina Panthers. We saw this game script in week 8, and it was absolute insanity. And we were talking about quarterbacks. If you're missing Lamar this week, or you're missing Burrow, or you're missing Mac Jones, Mariota, he was looking good weeks ago, but over the last 3 games Marcus Mariota he hasn't had any more than 129 yards passing. And now the fact that he's got Cordell Patterson back, and we're seeing some good things from Tyler Algier out of the backfield. I think the game script for Atlanta is going to be heavy on the run game. So I don't think you're going to want to look to Mariota on waivers unless you're in very deep league and you don't really have the choice, because I just don't think the production's going to be there for him this week. He's coming in ranked outside the top 10. He's still in a top 13 streaming option this week just because of the matchup. But other than that, Atlanta-wise, Drake London, for me, he's a drop. He's a complete drop. I wouldn't even keep him on my bench. He hasn't been consistent enough. He hasn't done anything, for me to want to talk about. Patterson is back, like I said, and this for Algiers coming off of, one of his more impressive weeks. His workload is going to be shared.
Do you think
And
so?
yeah, big time. They're
Well,
going to be
yeah.
looking to Patterson to do that kind of, make that kind of work. I'm sure he's going to be out there for snaps. Don't get me wrong. And he
No.
probably will see I want to say somewhere 5 to 10 carries, and I hope for more for his sake. But with Patterson back, I don't think so.
Do you
And
think also, not to cut you off, but
no, go ahead.
speaking of that with Patterson, do you think also with Patterson coming back, do you think that'll kind of diminish Kyle Pitt's role?
Well, you know, I think it could, and I don't know, man. Pitt's just it. This is one of my biggest things, and especially for tight ends this season, because you're just looking everywhere below that top tier, below your Andrews and your Kelsey for somebody to stand out. And Kyle Pitts is one of the most amazing athletes in the NFL. And just to not watch him get his share of the targets or the end zone looks, it's been super frustrating, especially for owners who went out and grabbed him early, expecting a big season. He is ranked ninth for me this week, though. You got Andrews out, you got a handful of other injuries at the position, you got Hurst on a bye, you got this it's he's still a streaming option this week. If there's any one of those guys, in that tight end conversation that could get it done any given game, it's him because as long as he's not questionable. And like I said, I got him ranked ninth this week. So I mean, if he's in the top 10, you got him, you're gonna start him. Unless you got Dallas Goddard, unless you got maybe because Allen and Williams are out, you got Everett and you want to take the chance on his target shares. But unless you're sitting there with, Kelsey or, Andrews being out, Isaiah Likely, he looked pretty good, but he only had one catch, 25 yards, and it was a touchdown score, you
Yeah.
know. But they're on a bye this week, so it doesn't really give you much hope. But, Patterson, he has been in the lineups plenty with Pitts in the mix, and he has still produced. But I wonder now because Algiers, he actually showed some really good promise. Yards after contact, he was finding it was like the holes were just, he was seeing them and he was going. It was cool to watch because he actually looked good.
Do you think though that was him, or do you think it was just a matter of there was no tape on him? There wasn't that much tape.
Well, that is probably, now that there is tape, it looks amazing to see what he was doing. And that could most definitely be the case because, I mean, it's not like there was anything on Huntley either. And he didn't go out of his way and do anything special either when
That's
he was
true.
getting target shares. And I can say that right now, you can put Caleb Huntley, um, you can put him back on waivers. He's not going to do anything, especially with Patterson back in. Um, but let's see. Atlanta's defense is going to be, you know, against Carolina the last time they played, it's not going to be. I don't think it's going to be changing too much. Deontay Foreman, he had 118 yards and 3 touchdowns against these guys in week 8, and that was amazing. So I mean, you can throw Foreman back in that mix, especially with Hubbard still questionable. I don't even know if Hubbard's going to play. And not only that, they're giving PJ Walker the start over Baker.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty amazing to me that they're doing that too because Baker, he came in and he only played the fourth quarter of that game. But in that fourth quarter, he had something like almost 200 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. He had a quarterback rating of 126 in just that little amount of time that he came in and took over for PJ Walker. Walker had 2 interceptions in that game, and they were ugly. But when he's in and when he gets the start, it seems like that's who DJ Moore has chemistry with. And when PJ Walker was getting the starts and playing good, DJ Moore was having his touchdown games and his deep threat games. So that makes DJ Moore, in my opinion, have way more upside. His ceiling goes up. But we'll have to wait and see. That Falcons defense, it gave up 300 plus yards to Carolina the last time they played in week 8. So that's something big to keep in mind. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I mean, in this game, it's just going to be a matter of who you trust and who you have in your gut. Deontay Foreman for me is a starter. He's an fringe running back too, flex all day.
Mhm.
Um, you could, if you really, really, if you wanted to, if you know you're having trouble at the quarterback position, I think there's other quarterbacks available. Um, I guess we're gonna have to wait to see what happens with Josh Allen, but it's hard for me to believe that Case Keenum is going to struggle with the talent in Buffalo if
I
Josh Allen
snagged him.
this time. I
I
saw
snagged
that.
him.
Saw that. That was a good pickup.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like I said, I don't think Mariota vents. I don't think he brings much fire to the table as a waiver wire pickup this week, with just his previous stats from when these guys last played and his last 3 games total. Not even having 130 yards in the air. It's not looking good there. Um, and let's see here. Yeah, other than that, I mean, you give your DJ Moore a start, you give your Deontay Foreman a start, um, and then you give Algier a flex consideration. Patterson's back to a lineup lock. Pitts is a lineup lock if you have him and you don't have anybody to replace him with. And we pray. I hope, I hope I put some good juju into the world on this one. Kyle Pitts, have a good week 10, man. Get in the end zone, get some targets. I'm pushing good juju out there for you right now, man. We all want to see you have that game, bro. You deserve it. You deserve it. I'm sick of having these talks about you as if you're not relevant, because you're mad relevant, you're mad talented, and we all want to see you get them points, man. So I'll put some good juju out there for Pitts. Other than that, like I said, um, Drake London's a drop. Um, Caleb Huntley's a drop, and that's pretty much it for the Thursday night game, as you'd call it.
Cool.
Hey, I wanted to ask. I got a couple of things to talk about here with you and get your opinions on, Jem.
Sure.
There have been two very big headlines coming out as topic of conversation for two backfields in the NFL that are very fantasy relevant. Number one is Leonard Fournette is pissed off that he has expressed his opinion that he did not get anywhere near the first half love that he was getting, even though he said he wanted a smaller role. And they're saying that Rashad White is, taking over his role. Can you see Rashad White taking over that job or the majority of the snap share from Leonard Fournette?
Yeah, totally, man. I feel like Tampa Bay is in a make or break it year. You know, they begged Tom Brady to come back. So they're going to do whatever it takes to make sure that things are moving in the right direction, you know. And if Rashad White is the hot hand, that's what they're going to go with. It's really not about loyalty on that team at all. It's really about who's performing.
For
And
sure.
Leonard Fournette, I mean, he was the first round pick of the Jaguars. You know, he should be in their ring of fame. He should be going into the Hall of Fame as a Jaguar. So it's not like he hasn't lost his spot before, you know,
Right.
and he's just, you know, I mean, he's a great back. He's a freight train for sure, but at the same time, like, um, they're not they're not built to run. I mean, granted, they did have that what 60-second drive to win the game or whatever, 90 seconds or whatever to win the game, but they're
Right.
not really
Tom
built
Brady
to play
magic.
like that. Yeah, they're built to go high speed, you know, high octane, and you know,
Right.
Leonard. I could, you know, Rashad White. He's a little bit quicker and his cuts are a little bit sharper than Leonard. So you know, I could definitely see him, not necessarily overtaking him, but probably you know getting you know
The majority.
5 to 7 more carries a game, you know, if
Right.
not, 10 to 15 more snaps because he's better on passing, passing drives, so or passing
Yeah.
plays.
For sure. No, that's exactly it too. And then when you look back and Tampa Bay, they were sitting there, and I don't know if it was the organization or the fans or who it was, but there were mad complaints coming out that Fournette was getting too much usage as a 4 down back, and they were beating him to death, and the game was falling on him, and that he was the only one out there completely doing work all 4 downs. and that he wanted a share in the snap so he didn't have to be out there 1, 2, 3, 4, and then all of a sudden they get him some help and a back who looks promising. And I think Rashad White is. I mean, his average yards per carry is 7.6 right now. That's huge. I mean,
which is great.
yeah, when you're looking at that, his yards after contact are good, and you can tell that he just comes in and he runs with a purpose. Now Fournette, he's a freight train, and he can actually catch for a big back, but you know that's what they were complaining he was doing too much, and now that they've got him the help, it seems like it's going the other way now. It just
Yeah.
didn't make too much sense to me. And then now, because Fournette hasn't been injured now on this side of the ball, now I'm going to switch it up a little bit to the Detroit Lions backfield, because right now Jamal Williams is got the edge over Swift. And now the first couple of weeks of the season, Swift was right up there with Barkley as, top three. Um, and then all of a sudden he got injured, and Jamal Williams, even when Deontay Swift was putting up those numbers, Jamal Williams was still the first week of the season. He scored 2 touchdowns, and then he had another couple 2 touchdown games. And this is even with Swift starting. And now I just saw another headline that Jamal Williams may be starting over Swift. And I know he's still working with that injury, so I don't know if that's as a result of that or if we're just looking at a changing of the guard.
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say a changing of the guard. I don't think the Lions have a guard to change over to, but that's just a potent backfield. I think that's a a Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb situation where
Super
the
committee.
Lions, yeah, the Lions are just like, all right, well, we're just gonna go with the hot hand, and like you said, Williams has been hot. I mean, this last 3 games, was he have like
He
was
had
it?
a weak one in between, but yeah, he this past week he scored 11.1, and then the week before that he had 2 scores, and then the week
Mm-hmm.
before that I think he had somewhere around us 22-point game.
Yeah, and I think I think the Lions are kind of in that same situation as the Bucks. They're just trying to find what works, man, and they're just happy that they do have that solid backfield because Jared Goff is boo boo. So
Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
think
he's climbing down the ranks.
yeah. So I don't think it's necessarily a change of guard because we'll probably see DeAndre Swift back in that starting role. I think it's just a matter of who the hot legs and who's gonna run away with the game for them. Like who's the Lions coach over there?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure who
I'm
who
not
does it.
sure. They don't have Matt Patricia anymore, so it's not like necessarily New England influence. But I mean, it's definitely the same thing that New England, we'd see them do. Whoever's running the ball well, or whoever's
Yep.
better for the game. Not even
Same.
necessarily who's running it well. Whoever's better for that game situation, that's who they're going to run with. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing the Lions do right now.
Yeah, similar to a 49ers
Mm-hmm.
backfield too. They always got a strong three-way committee. But
What do
yeah,
you think
no.
we're going to see with the 49ers, man? With
Oh
Debo
my,
coming back?
oh my Lord! I think we're gonna. I mean, dude, did you see CMC's projected score for the week? It's like
No.
23. He's projected at like 23, and I mean that's all those guys. I mean, it's going to be like a Waddle Hill to a situation where each week you're going to watch these guys with the potential ceiling of 40,
Yeah, all of them.
and just start beating the hell out of people. You know what
Even
I mean?
even Ayuk, bro. Like
Oh yeah,
Ayuk's
dude.
definitely
If he,
like it's crazy because I got him but I have Evans, and I have I
well,
forget who my other
Evans is questionable this week. It looks like
yeah.
he's got what is it, rib injury. When he got that crunch and they put that pad and taped him up, he was limited in practice. But I mean, even with Evans out, I mean, you still, like you said, you got options there.
Yeah.
Ayuk, man, I drafted Brandon Ayuk everywhere I could. Him and Darnell Mooney were 2 guys that I drafted my bench around.
Nice.
Because they were the breakout guys. Those were the guys that you thought you were going to see. But then after Trey Lance gets hurt, then it changes the whole game script. But then
The whole
it doesn't
game.
really, because Jimmy G's been in there before and he's gotten all those guys, chemistry. And I don't know, Ayuk, he had a little bit of a rough showing last week. He had some unsure hands, but he's always got that potential to go off. And yeah, man, I very much consider him a part of the whole system of weaponry over there, because I mean, God, if there's if there's someone to brag about and to watch, it's the 49ers at this point.
Yeah. And then you mentioned it earlier. I was gonna ask you about Case Keenum. Um, how do you feel about that? But yeah, like you said, they have a
Dude,
plethora of weapons.
I mean, Case Keenum's used to play in, for the Vikings, and when he's used to having targets. I mean, but you go in there and you got a good enough backfield like they do. They just added, you know, to the mix, and then you got
Times.
yeah, and then you got Diggs, you got Davis, you got Isaiah McKenzie. Dude, you got so many targets and so many weapons to use. You can spread that ball around so many ways.
Mm-hmm.
He, in my opinion, I mean, he's a B+ quarterback all day, and especially with the weapons around him. Now, from what I've heard, and I've been following Stephania Bell, who's the injury specialist at ESPN, and she is a very talented woman. Does all the spotlights. From what I understand of this injury, is there are multiple outcomes from what you can get from this. There's one instance where if you tear it, there can be a constant tingle because it's the UCL is what he injured, and as of right now, it has come out that it is just a sprain. Now, if he would have torn that, it can be a constant lingering tingle, like you hit your funny bone all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and could in that situation require surgery. Now, he is day to day, and they will make it the best decision based on, where they're at come towards game time. But as of right now, it seems like it's just a sprain, and that with some physical therapy exercises that they have specific for the UCL, that there's a better chance of him coming back now or sooner than missing any period of time. So I certainly don't think he's going on IR, and I hope he doesn't miss any more than a game, if anything.
Right.
So I don't think Buffalo is in trouble of losing playoff contention with Case Keenum back there, but I don't think that he can take that team anywhere near as far as Allen, obviously. Allen, he's always in the running for MVP. That everything that dude does on a weekly basis, whether it's scrambling, getting out of trouble and turning a negative into a positive, or giving 2 out of 3 receivers 6 catches for 125 yards and a touchdown each. It's uncanny what this dude can do,
Yeah.
I love him and I love Patrick Mahomes. The way that both of those guys play, it's like you can never count them out, and it's like they got magic under their belt. They stay so positive and they're so fun and they have so much fun. It's impossible to watch and not have fun watching them. But Kyler Murray, also another quarterback with an injury concern, but they're just looking at him as day to day, and he was limited for him in practice. Let's see. Keenan Allen not expected to practice. Cooks, he's questionable. He could come back after this week. Deion Jackson is questionable, and that's crazy because with Taylor having the injuries he had, who's going to take? Who's it going to be in the Indianapolis backfield? Is it Moss? Isn't that who they picked up?
The Colts. Yeah,
Yeah.
they got him in the trade.
And then they got
But they still got they got
they just,
Lindsey.
they just picked up Jeff Saturday as their head coach, right?
I do not even know,
He
honestly.
used to play lineman for them, and now I think after they fired the coach over there, he took over the job. Saturday is his name, I think.
Dang, yeah. He looks like a lineman.
Yeah, he's a beast. Yeah. Yeah, he used to play guard for them, I think. So that's cool. Oh man, yeah, Nicole Hardman is limited to practice as well for KC. That's always He's been a
Yeah.
very big target share for Mahomes. He's got an ab-related injury.
Do you think it'll change if he misses time and Tony picks up? Do you think Tony could take over as the guy over there? I know you were down on him.
I really do think Tony could take because Juju has found his role, and it's kind of like that role that Godwin is set into over there, where he's just catching slants. He's catching balls and it's consistent, and he's getting a target share, but he's only averaging like 9.6 yards per catch. So I think that could be Juju's role, and I think Tony's role could be the breakout guy.
Yeah.
Because I mean, dude, you saw how sure his hands were, and then you hear Chris Collinsworth in the booth, and he said, "I've been watching Kadarius Toney since he was in college, and if I ever was to go out and we put together a game of tag, I'm telling you right now, Kadarius Toney would be my first pick." That's what he said. He said he's been following him his whole career. He said the way that the kid runs routes, the attitude he has, his physicality, just all around the athleticism, Kadarius Toney is, and it's the truth, man. You watch him, you just got to get into a system that works.
Yep.
And boom, already within the first week of, Patrick Mahomes under center and him running slot, he was making great plays and, already putting his name out there. I love it. I love what he's doing.
Yeah.
And
I feel like I dropped him.
You saw that from square one. You picked that one up from square one, man.
Yeah. I feel like I just dropped him though.
Well, different weeks call for different players, especially with these bye weeks coming in. Man, after this, the buys are limited to like 2 teams, I think. But week 14, week 14, you mother F word, dude. Week 14 is going to be a rough one for me. There's like 6 different teams on a bye, and I know New Orleans is one of them. I know it's going to be bad, but we'll get there when we get to it.
Yeah, man. Well, shoot, bro. Looks like we don't have any questions tonight.
Nope. Oh, man. How about one last topic of conversation before we go? It looks like the Cowboys are showing interest in OBJ.
Oh, I wanted to talk about that.
But there are concerns about the elbow injury. What do you think? You think OBJ is going to come out of free agency and become a Cowboy, or where do you think he's going to go? And do you think the injury plays a factor?
See, I think they're trying to set it up so other teams are like, oh, well, there is that injury. And then, they don't have to offer him as much money, which will probably be vet minimum anyway. But I think somebody's going to pick him up. It's OBJ.
Right. Dude, the Cowboys, I mean, that would be a perfect spot for him, I think, man. I think that's a good fit. But then again, dude, I would love to see. I don't know if OBJ is the type of guy who could be coached by Mike Tomlin, but if he could and he worked in that system, I would love to see OBJ in black and gold, dude.
That'd be cool.
I would love it.
He could go anywhere, man. It's OBJ, so I got him stashed in one of my leagues, so hopefully somebody picks him up.
It looks like Dallas right now is showing the most interest, is what I've read and what I've researched the most, is that he's very interested in putting on a Cowboys jersey.
But I mean, we'll see. It's like oh man, what's the wide receiver from the Cowboys?
CeeDee Lamb.
No.
Michael Gallup.
No, he retired, or he retired. I guess you could say.
Michael Irvin.
No, dang, I can't think of his name, man. But he went and tried to play. He came back and tried playing for the Ravens. He didn't even make it on the field. It'll come to me, man. I'll have it in the next episode.
Not T.O.
No, it was more recent. It was before they got CeeDee Lamb, though. Who was he came in the same time as oh man, what's the Broncos receiver? He just died.
Demaryius Thomas. This is gonna bother the shit out of me now.
He came in the same time as Demaryius Thomas. His number 81.
Number 81.
Yeah, let's look it up right now.
It's gonna bug me if you don't.
Hey, look it up right now.
I hate not being able to remember players' names and numbers. Because I know number 8. I know Irvin.
No, it wasn't 81 because that's fucking To. God damn it.
88.
Yeah,
88's Michael
88.
Irvin. 88's
No,
Michael Irvin.
no, he was man, what is his name? Here, let me look and see. Dang.
I mean, is it a big name? Is it someone that you like? You should be remembering right now. Like I should
Yeah,
be remembering.
it is, bro.
Not like Emmitt Smith era.
No, it was recent. It was probably like the last 10 years. Well, it was the last 10 years.
Not Michael Irvin. Not
Des
Dion.
Bryant.
Dez. Okay,
Des Bryant. Like
he
when
did
he
some
came
bouncing
back.
around too.
Yeah, and he didn't do much when he came back. So hopefully, if he does come back, he's ready to play, and it's not,
See,
just
Des
coming back.
Bryant though, he was one of them bigger body guys. Like, he took a beating while he played his professional career. I think OBJ is still in better shape to come back than a guy like that. He's got more agility and more speed. He's a dartier guy, more quick guy than a body. You know what I mean?
I feel you.
So I think he's healthier in that aspect,
Mm-hmm.
minus the elbow injury, but you never know what anybody's going to do when they come back. I mean, you look at Deshaun Jackson, people said that fool would never play in the NFL because of his size. And then, look, he's still signing on to teams and he's still making plays. He came back this past week and was like, watch, I'll still catch this ball and break for a first down on you.
Yeah,
He was
true.
doing it, and he was doing it cocky, too. Man, that was a physical game, too, man. Those guys were at each other's throats. They wanted to fight the whole time. That was a good game. Let's see. Is there anything else Thursday related that we need to talk about? Nope. Nope.
Not that I
I
could
think
think of.
think we pretty much went through everything. Give Pitts a try, putting good juju out for him. Last time Foreman started against Atlanta, he had 118 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's huge. DJ Moore's upside is way better with PJ Walker. He's getting the start. Um, he's not ranked that high. He's looking at the 24th ranking coming in. Um, yeah, Mariota. If you don't need him, don't pick him up. Other than that, yeah, Algiers can find a flex spot. Patterson's back in the mix. He's a lineup lock. And another divisional game, a replay of week 8. It was a good game. So, everybody, best of luck tomorrow. Get your lineup set and play it smart.
Yep. Sounds good. Yeah, if you got some Thursday night players, make sure you're ready to run with them. Thursday night games can be weird, but yeah, thank you guys for watching us over here at Shady Sports Network, man. We're doing what we're doing, trying to grow, man, constantly growing. Shawnee, thank you for joining, man. You've been a great freaking value, great ad. I love your insight, and I love talking fantasy football with you every week. Thank you guys for watching. We'll come back probably Saturday. Get you guys right for Sunday. Get you ready, get you locked up and everything. You know where to find us, shadysportsnetwork.com. Got any comments? Leave them in the comment section. We'll get back to you. Have a great night.
Have a great night, guys. On behalf of the Shady Sports Network, I'm Sean Monahan. You can find me on all social networks. We're on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Spotify. We got Apple Podcasts, Insta. And right now, guys, if you download the Current app and you don't have direct deposit, if you qualify for their direct deposit, Current will deposit $50 into your account to open one with them if you qualify for their direct deposit. So try and do that if you can. Give us a like and a subscribe. And any questions, fantasy related or roster related or trade related, please feel free to reach out to 303 Jam Gemini, the Cedric, and Said Sells Homes. And you got more nicknames than Deion Sanders. And Shawnee Monahan for me on Facebook, and Shawnee_Monahan on Insta. Thank you very much on behalf of the Shady Sports Network and ourselves.
Peace, guys.
Good night.